Okay, Assalamu alaikum dear students. So hope you are doing great. Today we are conducting this online session and we'll be discussing lecture 10, which is chapter 10, and we'll be talking about strategic learning and human and development and the process of learning and development. Okay, let's jump into today's learning objectives. On the completion of this lecture, you should be able to define the main keywords and understand the meaning of learning and development, understanding the meaning of strategic learning and development. Describe the aims of strategic learning and development, explain the learning and development philosophy, describe the business case for learning and development, understand the learning and development strategy, describe how people learn, understand the meaning of or learning organization or organizational learning. Understand the notion of learning organization and explain what do we mean by self-directed learning. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into the definition of learning and development. Okay, it is defined as the process of ensuring that the organization has the knowledgeable, skilled, and engaged workforce it needed. It involves facilitating the acquisition of individuals and teams of knowledge and skills through experience learning events, program provided by the organizations, guidance, coaching provided by the line managers, and other self-directed learning activities carried out by the individual. So it's a totality of the learning that has an individual undergone through a period of time after he spent at the organization. So he has developed his own understanding about the things, the products and processes, and about the people and the products or services they are offering. So learning should be distinguished from training. So it is not the training. Training is a part of trying to help others to do the job effectively or efficiently. But learning is the process by which person contracts or constructs new knowledges, skills, and capabilities, where training is one of the several responses to an organization can understand to promote learning. Okay, so training is a small part of the big process that we are talking about, learning and development of the individuals in an organization. So learning and development is being considered as one of the key competitive advantage in today's world. Like I remember Jeff Bezos, he says that we try to develop a culture in which people can make mistakes. Okay, so when we're talking about making mistake, he says like we do experiments and we try to learn and do new things. So when we are doing experiments, there are chances that you will make mistakes, and when you make mistakes are costly. But this is the process through which people learn. So that's why that tells us the philosophy Amazon is following for the learning and development of the individual. That's why if the management has a focus on the learning and development, they will not like their best employees to leave the company, because they understand that they have developed this understanding about the products, the services, or the processes over the period of time. Okay, so strategic learning and development is an approach to helping people to learn and develop that is concerned with how organization goals will be achieved through its human resources by means of integrated learning and development strategies, policies, and practices. So basically, learning and development is a core part of policies and development practices, which is a strategic process. So individuals with the high level of learning, they are proved to be more effective as compared to individuals that are new and they don't know the systems. So strategic L&D policies are closely associated with that aspects of strategic HRM concern with investing in people and developing organizational human capital. So again, this concept is living with the human capital. These are the individuals that they develop their learning and now they are being considered as the most useful component or most important capital in an organization because they have established their learning. So learning can be a lifelong process. So individual learns through many things like how they are being treated, how the other employees are being treated, how the function works, what is the focus? Is the focus is the money or is the outcome or the processes? Like Jeff Bezos says that 95% or more than 90% of the processes that happen to develop any products are unnoticeable. So you don't see them. You only see the output, which is like 5%. So hence, like 95% of the activities that are happening in an organization, nobody notices that they are not noticeable, they are not appreciated, but they are the one they are really contributing to the overall end product and services. So that's why there's a need that organization need to examine how we can improve these 90% of the process, and that's where the learning and development is also part of it. The aim of the strategic learning and development. Strategic learning and development aims to produce a coherent and comprehensive framework for developing people through the creation of learning culture and formulation of organization and individual level strategies. So how we can develop a learning culture, as I previously discussed, like how Jeff Bezos, they develop this kind of a culture at Amazon because they help employees to take initiative, they help initiate to take mistakes, and they encourage and appreciate these mistakes. And as we have discussed, like mistakes have a cost, but these organizations, they're willing to go for this costly business. Otherwise, if there is another kind of organization that doesn't appreciate taking a risk, obviously they will try to stay safe, and that's why they will not be the leading in innovation. It is therefore about developing the intellectual capital required by the organization as well as ensuring that the people of the right qualities are available to meet the present and future need. Again, learning and development is putting too much pressure on human resources because it talks about human capital. So these people are walking billboards, walking dictionaries of knowledge and their experiences. So out of their experiences, out of the knowledge that they have developed over the period of time, they are very useful to the company. The main thrust on strategic L&D is to provide an environment in which the people are encouraged to learn and develop. Okay, so learning and development, what are the philosophies behind this? So the philosophy of underpinning strategic L&D is as follows. Learning and development activities make a major contribution to the successful attainment of organizational objectives and investment in its benefits all the stakeholders of the organization. So the people or the capital, the employees that they have learned through the mistakes, so they will not be incurring the same mistakes again, and their commitment level is again different as compared to the new learners. Learning and development plans and programs should be integrated with the support of achieving business and human resource strategies. So there has to be a directly link between what do we want to achieve. The human resource strategy should be directly linked with the learning and development, and it should be performance related. designed to achieve specific improvements in corporate, functional, team, and individual performance, make a major contribution to the bottom line results. Everyone should be encouraged and given the opportunity to learn. So it should not be like for the masses versus classes. So a learning opportunity should be an equal opportunity for all employees. The framework for individual learning is provided by the personal development plans that focus on self-managed learning and are supported by the coaching, mentoring, and formal trainings. The organization needs to invest in learning and development by providing appropriate learning opportunities and facilities. But prime responsibility for learning and development rests with the individual. So the point is that we have to just provide the environment, and it's up to the individual and how they see the processes and how they interpret and how they make a sense of it. Who will be given the guidance and support of their managed and members of the human resource department. So the HR and the company's sole responsibility is to provide a right environment where individuals, if they want to learn and develop, they should get this opportunity. Okay, the business case for learning and development. The business case for learning and development should demonstrate how a learning and development program will meet the business needs. So it should have a cost the business needs. So it should have a cost to benefit analysis is required, comparing the benefits expressed and quantifying outcomes as far as possible that will result from the learning activities. So the business case has to convince management that there will be an accountable return on investment in learning and training programs and events, because as a HR professional, you'll have to develop this case and present it to the top bosses, and you'll have to make a direct link, like why you think learning and development will have a value for the company. The case for investing in R&D can refer to all or any of the following potential benefits, like improve individual, team, corporate performance in terms of output, quality, speed, and overall productivity. And attract high quality employees by offering them learning and development opportunities. Provide additional non-financial rewards as part of total reward policy, or improve operational flexibility by extending the range of skill possessed by the employees. So basically, this is like how the HR people are going to develop a case so that they can put to the top management and can get their seriousness toward the learning and development within the company. They should increase the commitment of the employees. So you can develop your case like it will increase the commitment of the employees by encouraging them to identify mission and objective of the organization. It will help to manage change, and then provide line manager with the skills required to manage and develop their people. It will help to develop a positive culture in the organization. It will provide higher level of service to customer. It will minimize learning cost, reduce the length of the learning curve. Okay, so what are the possible L&D strategies? Learning and development strategies should be designed to support the achievement of the business goals by promoting human resource advantages, and should also take into consideration the people need to grow and develop. Okay, so it's basically linked with two things. One is the human resource advantages that we're going to have, and how we can develop the people. The L&D strategies are concerned with developing the following. Number one, strategies for creating a learning culture. So how we can develop a learning culture? In this culture, learning is organized, recognized by top management, line managers, and employees, generally as an essential organizational process to which they are committed and in which they engage continuously. The main characteristics of learning cultures are self-managed learning, not instructed. So long-term capacity building, not short, and term fixed, and employment, not supervision, or empowerment, not supervision. So this tells you like how we can develop a learning culture within the organization where everybody is self-motivated, self-passionate to learn and develop. It is not being directed by the management. It is not like instruction. They just have to self-manage it. They have to develop their own capacity, and they should be empowered, not supervised. How it can be linked with organizational learning strategies, which aims to improve organizational effectiveness through the development and acquisition of knowledge, understanding, insights, and technical practices. So learning and development is rightly linked with organizational learning and strategies because they both go hand to hand. So individual learning is also reflected to the organizational learning. Individual learning strategies can also be focused on the individual level. They compromise by processes and programming used to ensure that the individual employees acquire and develop the new knowledge, skills, and capabilities, behavior, and attitude to perform the roles effectively and to develop their potential. So it's a win-win situation in which the individual is also learning and developing, and organization is also going to get benefit out of their learning. So this should cover how learning needs will be identified, the role of self-managed learning, facilitation of workplace learning, and the support of individual learning like guidance, coaching, and mentoring. So basically, L&D strategies can be of three levels. First, in strategic level, second, organizational learning level, and third one is individual level. Okay, how people learn. That's a great theory. So we have to understand the process through which people learn, because as a human being, our mind is always at work and it's always thinking, analyzing things that are happening around us. So they can be formal learning, they can be informal learnings. So all these things, they happen. So individual learns for themselves, or learn from other people. The learning may take different ways. They learn as a member of a team, or by interaction with the managers, co-workers, people outside the organizational, like social learning, and by the instructions. So how people learn is explained by learning theory as described below. One theory is called reinforcement theory. It expresses the belief that changes in behavior takes place as a result of an individual response to an event or stimuli and ensures the consequences, reward, and punishment. Individuals can be conditioned to repeat the behavior positively, reinforcement if the feedback and knowledge result are positive. So let me give you an example on this. So we call it positive reinforcement or the negative reinforcement. So basically what happens is, if somebody performs a function and at the end of any activity or function, he gets a reward for that. So there is chances that individual is going to repeat that activity or action that they have done. Or if he or she faces a punishment, then they will not try to reinforce what they have done in the past. For example, in university, doctor has gone and published a patent, and when he published a patent, he get a reward and appreciation and acknowledgement. So he or she will also repeat this in the future so that they can get the reward. Similarly, if an event that results into punishment, the individual will try not to repeat it in the future. Okay, cognitive learning theories, they are also learning that involves gaining knowledge, understanding by absorbing information in the form of principles, concepts, facts, and internalization. So basically, it's like when you're reading, when you're going through other knowledgeable concepts, facts, you can learn cognitive learning theories. But there's a difference between experimental learnings. It is more advocate that learning happens when people have the experiences of absorbing and reflection on it so that it can be understood and applied. So they said, like, as compared to cognitive, which is like we are discussing the theories, you are just learning the theories and you're remembering the theory. But if you're actually involved, like if you are involved in the process of reward making, then you will be actually learning the process. Then there is another theory that is called social learning theory. It says that effective learning requires social interaction. So people learn when they interact with others, and they also shape their ideas and they help you to develop new kinds of learning. The motivation to learn, like motivation theory, that states that people will learn effectively if they are motivated to learn. So two motivation theories particularly relevant to learning. One is expectancy theory and one is goal theory. Expectancy, like this is slightly different with the reinforcement theory. Reinforcement theory, we see like we conducted an event, and then at the end of the event, what was your experience? Whereas expectancy theory is like you expect that what is going to be, what should be an outcome, or to my efforts, and how I will see this if it is achieved. It is basically a motivational model that individuals are driven to act by their expectation that their efforts will lead to performance. So this is slightly different than a reinforcement theory. Okay, reinforcement is you did something, you were not expecting anything, but eureka, you got a reward for that. So you got so you will repeat. So this is like when we are dealing with the small children, they do a certain activity, we appreciate, we give them a candy, and then they will repeat the same action. Expectancy is like when you think like if I am working hard, I'm coming on a daily basis on the time, and then you develop certain expectancy like okay, so I should be given the reward. So this is linked with your performance. Your efforts are linked directly with the performance. So if you make the efforts and you increase the performance, and then you develop an outcome, like this outcome that you value, if it is achieved, you get like I am getting what I have worked for. The input that I gave is equivalent to the output that I've been rewarded. But if there is a mismatch, then people will decrease the level of performance because their expectancy was, for example, somebody was thinking like after achieving this target, the company will pay me 5,000 real. as a reward because this is something very special. Imagine the company did not appreciate or paid any reward, so they will decrease their performance the next time. So they might not be going to do that activity. Then goal theory is basically like how people set their goals. If their goals are less competitive, they put little effort, but if their goals are more like they're to more like they're to an unexpected level of targets they set for themselves, then they are not realistic, so they don't get those goals. Technically, they should set competitive goals. So if you have your goals and you follow these goals, so learning can also be in someone individuals based on their goal too. Learning styles can be different. So it says that like people that have different learning style. So it can be used to design and conduct learning events, keeping in view what are the different styles for the individual. Honey and Mumfield, 1996, they gave us 4 learning styles. So according to one learning style, people or employees are activists who involve themselves fully without bias in new experiences and new challenges. Okay, so they are bold enough to go and experiment in new things. There can be another kind of individual. They are not activists, they are reflectors who stand back and observe new experiences from different angles. They collect data, reflect on it, and then come to the conclusion like, should I be doing it or not doing it? Pragmatists who are keen to try new ideas, approaches, and concepts to see their work. And theorists, they are deeply studies and the key principles to build a strong understanding. So they basically concerned about the principles. They are the theorists. You know what drives this? Why, like we can say, Newton was a theorist. So he was sitting under the tree when the apple fell off on his head. He said, like, why the apple fell down? Why the apple did not go the other way around? So these kind of people, when they try to see the principles, what happened, are basically called as the theorist. So Honey and Mumfield's learning styles can be all these 4: activists, reflectors, pragmatics, and theorists. And we can also look them from intuitions perspective, and doing perspective, observer perspective, and logical. So intuitives are, they seek knowledge or power from, supernatural intuitive things, but logicals are the ones they will just accept anything that makes a sense, that is logical. So they are in disagreement to each other. Similarly, doing and there are individuals that are more focused on observing. So reflectors, as we discussed, they gather observation, the stories and experiences to fulfill their patterns. Then the activist, they give values, maximal experiences to develop automatic intrinsic. So they are highly involved in doing, and they are using intuitive skills as well. Then if we say doing plus logical, we call them pragmatists. Pragmatists, they learn through methodological hands-on experimentations. And last but not the least, the theorist, They deeply studies key principles to build strong understandings. Okay. So learning to learn, it states that the people will learn more effectively if they learn how to learn. So learning to learn is an art. The process of learning to learn is defined by Hani 1998 as the acquisition of knowledge, skills, and insights about the learning process itself. So the learning curve, this concept of learning curve refers to the time it takes to an inexperienced person to reach the required level of performance in a job or a task, which is sometimes called experienced worker standards. So different people will have different learning curve. Some people take too much time to learn something. Other takes very little time to learn and reach a certain time, learning. After some time, when the learning is done, they can be very quick and they can do the high number of outputs. So some can be slow starters, but later on they can give you the desired outcomes. So we have to understand as a management that there are individuals, they are different on learning, so we cannot treat them all equal based on the learnings. Okay, so what is organizational learning? Organizational learning is about development, acquisition, inter-organization knowledge, understanding, insights, techniques, practices in order to improve organizational effectiveness. It is concerned with the methods adopted by the organizations to promote learning. So it's a vice versa kind of a relationship. Organization develop a culture. That culture develops a learning organization, and that learning organization helps you to develop the big targets or organization's overall objective achievement. Arrigher's 1990 suggests that organizational learning occurs under two conditions. First, when an organization achieves what is intended. So if an organization sets a target and it achieves it, that will also help you to learn. Secondly, when a mismatch between intentions and outcome is identified and corrected. So your intention was to go somewhere else and you reach somewhere else. So this mismatch, if the organization counts this mismatch, it can be very successful. So this can be a process of an outcome of mismatch between intention and outcome of the performance or activity. Okay, the notion of the learning organization. The learning organization is described by Peter Senge in 1999, who originated the idea as one where people continuously expand their capacity to create the results they truly desire, where new and expense patterns of thinking are nurtured. Where collective aspiration is set free and where people are continuously learning how to learn together. So Carver 1993 suggests that learning organizations are good at doing 5 things. First, they make systematic problem solving. They do experimentation. They learn from the past mistake. They learn from others. So systematic problem solving, which means rest heavily on the philosophy and methods of quantity movement. Experimentation involves the systematic search for testing new knowledge, continuous improvement processes like Kaizen, which is a Japanese philosophy and are important features in the learning organization. Third one is learning from the past experience. Learning organization review their success and failure, assess this systematically, and record the lessons learned in a way that employees and find open and accessible, so that it would not be making the same mistakes that we have done in the past. The fourth one is sometimes learning from others. Sometimes the most powerful insights come from looking outside one's immediate environment to gain a new perspective. This is called steal ideas shamelessly. Okay, so organizations can do steal ideas shamelessly by just focusing on the outer environment and learn the best practices and try to implement it in their own organization. So the fifth one is transferring knowledge quickly and efficiently through the organization by seconding people with the new expertise or by education and training programs. So education and training program is at number 5, and it is like another way of transferring knowledge, but this is being put on the number 5, not on the first one. Okay, so lastly, the self-directed learning. Okay, so lastly, the self-directed learning and the ideal condition for the business. It involves encouraging individuals to take responsibility for their own learning needs. So either to improve the organization performance and their present job, to develop their potential and satisfy their current aspirations. So it can also describe as self-reflecting learning, which is kind of learning that involves encouraging individuals to develop a new pattern of understanding, thinking, and behavior. So I hope in today's lectures you have grasped the concept of learning organization, what are the learning organization's objectives, and how we can develop a learning organization where employees become asset to the overall organization. So we have looked into the strategic learning and development processes, and we have seen like how the organization can do this learning and development and capitalize upon the human capital, which can prove to be very effective if they are properly harnessed during the whole process of management. Okay, by this we can finish today's lectures. I wish you all the best. If you have any questions, please raise your questions.